The Detroit Tigers drop a ball game on Wednesday afternoon by a score of 4-1 to the Minnesota Twins. Let's talk about it today on Locked On Tigers.
You are Locked On Tigers, your daily Detroit Tigers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Tigers. I'm, of course, your host, Scott Bentley. Today is Thursday, August 4th, 2022. Thanks for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast. Okay, first and foremost, yesterday's show at the very beginning, I tried to talk quietly at the beginning of today's show because yesterday all my levels were fine. The levels didn't change. I don't know what happened, but for the first second of yesterday's show, the volume just freaked out and I was so loud. And I just want to formally apologize if you're a headphone listener, if you're a TV listener, if you're watching on YouTube, whatever. That had to be a little bit of a jump scare. And I just want to apologize for that because that was when I went back and somebody had pointed it out and I went back. It scared the heck out of me, and it was my show and I knew what was happening. So I'm very sorry for the first second of yesterday's show and why. I don't know. I've triple checked the levels. None of them change in the middle of the show or anything. I have no clue what was going on, but hopefully we're good now. And if not, I try to talk really quietly at the beginning of this one just to double check and triple make sure that it wasn't going to happen again. Also, yesterday's show was I got a lot of great reception for it because a lot of fans are very upset. So I just want to start the show by saying thank y'all because even with the depths that we have reached this season for the on the field product of the Tigers organization, even the off the field stuff has been pretty miserable. I think faith in the front office and ownership is the lowest it's been since before Mike bought the team. It's been a very rough year, and so the numbers on this show have not wavered. If anything, they continue to grow, even though the team is having a catastrophic year, and that is all due to y'all. So the support that I continue to see and that this show continues to see, even with the season that we're having, means you will never know how much that means to me. But had quite a road to get to where I am today. And if I was able to tell, middle school me, high school me that, that I was able to have a platform and get paid to talk about the Tigers, that would have been a pretty crazy moment. So I just want to say that I very much appreciate all you for real. Because you're going to deal with crap no matter anytime you have a platform on the internet with anything. But I think the main reoccurring fans that and listeners that I have on this show and this community we've kind of built is fantastic, and you guys are awesome. And I very much appreciate each and every one of you. Okay, let's get to the actual Tigers. I've spent way too much time at the beginning being soppy. Sappy, whatever the word is. Sappy, I think. I don't know what soppy is. So, Tigers dropped this one 4-1. This is embarrassing, to be honest with you. This is really not good. This is a team that struck out, I believe it was 41 times in this series. 14 today, 13 yesterday, 14 the day before that. Is that 41? I think it is. Wow. I that was off the dome math and I nailed it. That's a rarity for yours truly. So I'm pretty impressed with myself there. But that's not good. 41 Ks in a 3-game series. Not great. Not great, Bob. So this was really same story, different day. We scored 1 run. We had 4 hits and 5 total base runners. And the most frustrating part about this game specifically on the offensive side of the ball was the fact that they could not hit fastballs down the middle. And that's been a okay. Also, I'm recording this during like a biblical sized thunderstorm. If you live in the metro Detroit, southeast Michigan, you are dealing with this as well. So if you can hear the thunder, or if you see the flashes of lightning, if you're watching on YouTube, just I can't help it. So they could not hit fastballs down the middle, and it was mind boggling, and it didn't stop. It was the entire game. Look, I really like Joe Ryan. I think he's really nice. I think he's got a bright future. I think that's a really good piece that the Twins have developed, and I think he's going to be a problem for the Tigers for a long time. Location wise, he wasn't that good today. Command wise, he went 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, 9 Ks. He dominated you. I mean, and he only had 78 pitches through 5. And in a perfect world, he just keeps going. But I mean, like, golly, it was consistent. Fastballs on the heart of the plate, swung and missed. Fastballs heart of the plate, swung and missed. Tried to go fastball high, missed his spot. Ended up being a fastball at the belt, swung and missed. A lot of foul balls, a lot of fouling off fastballs. It was unbelievable how many fastballs this team just honestly refused to hit. And you know what the craziest part about it is that Joe Ryan, the Twins saw that was like happening and just only threw fastballs because they're like, well, they can't hit them. What are we doing? Listen to this. Listen, this is mind-boggling stuff. I'm truly not sure I've ever seen anything like this. Okay, like this is the kind of stuff that my like nerdy, like analytical brain freaks out on. Okay, Joe Ryan's pitch mix, 78 pitches. He threw 3 changeups, 5 sliders, 8 curveballs, and 62 four-seam fastballs. 62 of 78 pitches were four-seam fastballs. That's 80%. I didn't do that math in my head. It's on the screen. 80% four-seam fastballs. He had 16 whiffs on the fastball alone. He had 18 on the game. And the command wasn't good. You should never have 16 whiffs on a four-seam fastball, ever. I don't care who you are, who you're playing, what level you're playing at. As a team, you should not be swinging and missing at 16 four-seam fastballs. It's a straight pitch. And again, the command was not even that good. And the average velocity was 92 in 2022. 92 miles an hour is nothing. That's below average. I was dumbfounded. I wasn't even mad anymore. Like at some point, it just becomes impressive how much of a flop and how much of a just I'm numb to it. I'm numb to this team performing like this, and I'm numb to all of it. And at some point, it just becomes somewhat funny. This is remarkable. The average exit velocity was 74 miles an hour. That is nothing. That's nothing. It got fouled off 19 times. He threw it 62 times. It got put in play 6 times. For an average exit velo of only 74 miles an hour, it got fouled off almost 20 times, and it got swung through 16 times. Called strike 12 times. His four-seam fastball that he threw 80% of the time had a CSW, called strikes plus whiffs percentage, of 45%. Almost half of the fastballs he threw were either called strikes or swinging strikes. How is that possible? It's just the team never fails to amaze me. I'm serious. I have never seen anything like this. I have never seen a performance offensively like we saw on Wednesday afternoon. It is mind-boggling. 45% CSW. And he threw it 80. You knew it was coming. He threw it 80% of the time. He didn't, any of his other pitches didn't even reach 10 times thrown. You knew it was the four seam. And at some point in like the second inning, he just went, they cannot hit this 92-mile-an-hour fastball down the middle. I'm just going to keep throwing it. And it worked. What an unbelievably embarrassing offensive performance. Dumbfounded. Dumbfounded. Truly. Okay. Let's keep talking about the game. We'll get to the pitching side of things and everything. But first, I got to tell y'all about our friends over at BlueNile.com. Whether you're ready to pop the question or you're celebrating a milestone moment, find jewelry as unique as her with the modern convenience of online shopping at BlueNile.com. Blue Nile has simple online tools that let you choose the diamond's shape, the diamond size, and clarity, as well as setting style. Blue Nile's bench jewelers will then handcraft her engagement ring. Each ring is truly one of a kind. If you're looking for fine jewelry but having trouble choosing, Blue Nile has jewelry experts on hand 24/7, available via phone or chat to help you find a memorable gift at every single budget. Make your moment sparkle with the jewelry from BlueNile.com. And going on now is the Blue Nile anniversary sale. You can save up to 40% on classic fine jewelry pieces and 25% on engagement ring settings. Plus, every order is insured, it ships free, and it arrives in discreet packaging that won't give away what's inside. So you can shop completely stress-free. Find your forever piece at BlueNile.com today. All right, everybody. Welcome back to segment 2 here at Locked On Tigers. Thanks for making us your first listen every single day. Free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. So, Tigers lost 4-1 to the Minnesota Twins, and they had 5 base runners, 4 hits. Notable performances. Riley Greene has become very, not interesting, because we all know that's a dumb word, but he has become very fascinating. I feel like that's my go-to replacement, and it's just going to make me then hate the word fascinating. But it is somewhat remarkable how he is struggling unless there's a runner in scoring position. Like, all of his hits in the last 3 games have been RBIs. And then besides that, it's honestly a lot of Ks and a lot of ground balls to the right side of the infield. Just like consistently. It's unreal, honestly. Not necessarily in the most positive connotation, but it's wild to me that he's clutch, and he'll put the ball in play when somebody's in scoring position, and he knows that he's got a job to do, and his job is to score a run, and he scores the run more times than not. But if there's nobody on base, or if there's a runner on first, he's laboring. And I mean, his numbers, he's got a 640 OPS. That's obviously not very good. I'm pretty sure I think one of the 2 sites has him at a negative WAR, and one has him at like 0 or like just barely positive. They use different calculations and metrics and everything to determine their WAR. So, um, it's I haven't really seen any, like, Miguel Cabrera, I guess, is the closest kind of thing to that, but he's been hit, he hit almost 300 leading up for majority of the season. He's been struggling lately, but he maintained almost a 300 batting average for a while. But he was doing a thing where, like, if there was nobody on, Miguel Cabrera was an automatic out. But if there was a man on third, every single time, you best believe he was going to drive that runner in. Whether it was a sac fly with less than 2 outs, or he was going to hit a weak single to the right side, he was always scoring runners in the first half of the year. It's just those seem to be his only hits, and it seems to be pretty similar to Riley Greene. The main thing that Greene has to work on right now is quicker swing, almost, I guess I would say. Just don't have a hole up and in. He's got a long swing, kind of like Cody Bellinger, and Cody just has a massive hole up and in the strike zone that people just throw fastballs in. It's automatic strikeouts. And don't do that. Obviously, make adjustments. Don't have that hole up and in. But also, I think one of the things that he needs to work on is just simply approach at the plate. Like, he is early on, it seemed like he was aggressively patient. And now, especially again when there's nobody on, he almost seems like he's just getting eaten up at times and whatnot. He'll be fine. I am like I said, I am more of a Riley Greene believer than any player in this entire organization. I think this dude is going to be absolutely incredible. But slow start out the gates, as on brand for this season, as on brand for every single player. The other thing with Riley Greene is the power stroke. That's been, his walk numbers are pretty solid. He's walking a decent amount. His strikeout numbers lately, especially, have been high. His batting average, could be a bit higher. It's 235. That's not amazing, but I'm not a huge batting average guy anyway. Um, the big thing for right now is translating the power stroke from the minors to the majors, because Riley Greene's got a great eye, and Riley Greene can hit the ball hard and far. He mashes. And so just having that translate to the major league level. I still want him to be leadoff. I still think he should be getting more at bats than anybody else on this team. And at the end of the day, that's what I want in a leadoff hitter. I don't need the, old school 70s and 80s. Oh, I want a guy with no power that's super fast and whatever. Like I just want the player that you think should be getting the most at bats on your team should be in the 1 and 2 holes, because they get the most at bats on the team. I'm okay with Riley Greene continuing to get the most at bats on the team for the time being. All right, he just gonna. I know it, and I'm regurgitating. I said it again. That's 2 days in a row. I've been really big on that word. I know I'm just saying the same thing that I said about Torque and that everybody said about Torque, and you don't want to be too quick to jump the gun on a young kid, but I know it's frustrating. Lord, no, I know. I really do. I know it's frustrating, and I know no one wants to hear this again. But he'll be okay. He's unbelievable. He's an incredibly talented player. And that's kind of it. I don't even really want to talk about anyone else on the offense. Harold Castro had 3 hits. Cool. Didn't amount to really anything. Yeah. Jonathan Scope had 3 Ks. Eric Haas had 4 Ks. Everybody struck out a ton. We had 14 strikeouts. That's it for the offense. Whatever. Going to the pitching side of things. Andrew Chafin pitched in this one. I did not think he looked as sharp as we're used to seeing him, but whatever. Derek Law pitched in this one. Derek Law, controversial call up and left in the game too long in Toronto. He then comes in, throws a ton of sliders. The velocity is up from what we're usually used to seeing from him in the minors or in his several stints in the majors. But he doesn't look that sharp. And I would imagine that his days are somewhat numbered on this major league team. I don't expect Derek Law. Like, personally, I would rather have Angel DeJesus in this bullpen than Derek Law at the moment. I'm not really sure what they're doing there. There might be some more roster moves coming. We don't know. There might be some DFAs. Really, the rest of the year is just going to be, it should be, just weeding out what you have on the roster and trying to thin out the roster and get rid of kind of the excess fat along the 40 man at least, and start making some space for some players that can make a difference. And so I'm not 100% sure Derek Law is longed for, that's what I was trying to say, for the roster. But we will see. I mean, this is 2 performances and neither of them went very well. Jose Cisnero, I wanted to say for last, because his stuff moves a ton. He's so talented and he's so good, and his sinker is a crazy plus pitch that moves a ton and it has good velo on it, good shape. Today he just had no command. I mean, he was that 4-pitch walk was tough to watch. He went out there and threw the sinker. I think he threw the sinker 4 times. It was either 3 or 4 times. And every single one, he was trying to pinpoint, and it just tailed too far inside, tailed up and in too far. Like, it really was a brutal outing command-wise for him. He only gave up 1 run in 1 inning, so I guess at the end of the day, it wasn't the worst thing ever. But that's a couple outings in a row where we've noticed that his command has not been as sharp as we'd like it. I know he's still trying to slowly blend in to the bullpen and get used to. He was a huge workhorse before the injury. We used him. He was used, I think, one of the most in all the American League. his last full season in 2021. So very, very much going to get him back. He's going to be okay. His stuff moves a lot. I love Jose Cisnero, but early on, the command has been not fantastic. Okay, we're going to get to Tyler Alexander and then the roster moves that were made by the team after I tell y'all about our friends over at built.com. If you haven't tried Built Bar Puffs yet, you are depriving yourself of one of life's greatest joys. That it's as simple as that. And guess what? There's a new flavor. It's indulgent cookie dough. It's delicious. It's covered in chocolate. That's right. Built has done it again. Let me introduce you to your new favorite. Cookie dough chunk puffs have a light, chewy texture, real cookie dough chunks, and of course, they're covered in 100% real chocolate like all Built bars are. All the joys of eating cookie dough without the hassle of making it. Plus, it's healthy for you. Cookie dough chunk puffs are only 160 calories. They have a whopping 15 grams of protein in them. So run to built.com, snag a box for you and the family. It will be a perfect treat. Or you can find a really good hiding place and just kind of hoard them all for yourself. That's what I do. Like all Built Bars, the new cookie dough chunk puff is covered in 100% real chocolate, like I said, and that means it's healthy and tasty. Cookie dough, the texture, it's phenomenal. They're made with protein. Your body absorbs more efficiently, provides tons of health benefits. It really is amazing how good it is and good for you it is. You're going to love it. So go to built.com, use promo code LOCK15. You can get 15% off of your order. That's promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at built.com. All right, everybody. Welcome back to our third and final segment here at Locked On Tigers. Thanks for making us your first listen every single day. Free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. Tyler Alexander got the start in this one. 5 innings, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 5 Ks. I was pretty impressed with Tyler. And look, I got this weird rap as being like a Tyler Alexander hater at the end of last season and in the offseason because I was just very adamant that I want Tyler Alexander to be a long reliever for this baseball team. Before we signed Michael Pineda, the big thing was, oh, is he going to be the fifth starter or not? And I was just very adamant on A, you need depth, and B, I think he excels more in a reliever role. Now, turns out everybody decided to get hurt, so we're going to need him to start games anyway. But they really did push it off, and they waited until the last possible second to actually do that. I mean, they could have made him a starter a much longer time ago when the injuries were, and I know he got hurt at one point too, but when the injuries were starting to pile up, and no, they kept him in the bullpen, and now really twisted their arm with all of the injuries. We've had 15 different starters. Golly. But but I thought he looked good. I was pretty darn impressed with Tyler Alexander. He had 12 whiffs in 5 innings. That's a good number. 5 strikeouts in 5 innings is solid. Only 1 walk. The average exit velocity was sub 90. CSW percentage, called strikes plus whiffs. 32% of his pitches, almost 1/3 of his pitches were either called strikes or swinging miss strikes. That's pretty solid. He 2 hits. I mean, he was solid. It was one mistake he kind of made a couple mistakes, I guess, where he got hit pretty hard in that one inning of work. What is it? The second inning. He got hit hard a couple of times in that inning, and that ended up costing him. And really, besides that, it was pretty good. I was really impressed with the pitch mix. He really mixed everything up super well. Looked like a seasoned vet out there. 66 pitches. 24 of them were the 4-seam, 13 changeup, 13 cutter, 9 slider, 7 sinker. That's beauty. That's beautiful. So I was really impressed with that. I also loved the shape of the slider. He only threw it 9 times. I was like, hey man, keep throwing that thing. I thought it had really good movement today. It was biting. It was like almost a curveball at one point because of how the shape that it took and how it was kind of diving more vertically than horizontally. I was really impressed. I was really impressed. And it doesn't change my opinion of Tyler Alexander's role on this team for the future when everyone's at full health. But I have always been in support of him being the spot starter when injuries happen and will continue to be because of outings like this. He's going to keep you in ball games. He's not going to make it so that a game is out of reach. He is going to do good enough to keep a team in it. And that's exactly what you need in that kind of hybrid Swiss Army knife role of reliever starter. So I think Tyler Alexander holds a lot of value. I think he's always held a lot of value, and I was impressed with this outing. Okay, that's it for the game. We're done. 4-1. Offense was same story, different day. Was really the story of this one. Michael Fulmer did pitch. That was a storyline as well in Wednesday's game. I will say this: I saw him throw his slider cutter thingy, and I thought to myself, "This is I'm no longer going to get to say the slider cutter thingy," and it made me sad because I don't know what it is. Some people say it's a slider on the broadcast, good slider. And then there's some people you go and you listen to them and, oh, yeah, that really nice cutter. And so most of the season, I've just been calling it the slider cutter thingy. And I no longer get to break down and analyze Michael Fulmer's slider cutter thingy. And that's sad. So, it was a weird moment. Objectively, I feel like, seeing him in red was just weird. Um, he pitched a damn good inning. I'll tell you that. A dang good inning. He looked really sharp. I'm not really sure what Harold Castro was doing. Maybe he thought like, oh, I know my buddy's timing, and I'm going to try to steal on him. I don't know what that was, but it did not work at all. Got a strikeout in there. It was kind of a bad call, but whatever. He looked really good. And yeah, that one stung a little bit. I'm gonna be honest. That was not a very fun inning to watch. But again, kind of numb to it at this point. We do this every single deadline, so I'm used to it, and I'm probably gonna stay used to it for the foreseeable future. Unfortunately, we do have a couple of roster moves. Tarek Skubal placed on the 15-day IL, retroactive August 2nd, which means that even though he was technically put on the IL on August 3rd, because he hasn't played a game since August 2nd, you can cheat and say, oh, no, we're just going to pretend like we could put him on August 2nd. So it'll be on the 15-day IL, but it'll only be for 2 weeks, which means he'll miss a few starts in there. Willie Peralta has returned. We kind of we talked about on the show that I expected him to come back. I think it was Tuesday, deadline day. I expected him to come back then. He didn't, but I did say, he was close. And if it wasn't Tuesday, it was going to be really soon. I hoped it wasn't at the expense of a Tarek Skubal injury, but here we are. So Willie Peralta's back. That's going to be, again, this bullpen just needs someone to eat innings. We don't have starters that can consistently go deep into games. This bullpen's going to be really gassed. So Willie Peralta is going to be vital in the sense that he's going to be a dude that you can go to in the pen and knock out 3 innings for you and pitch good baseball. Zach Short, option to AAA Toledo. He was recalled for Daz Cameron. Zach Short is just going to continue to be that. He's just going to be a 4A guy that if you have an open roster spot, he'll come up. And if you don't, he'll get sent down. Daz Cameron, we can presume is taking the outfield spot that Robbie Grossman had. So we have back to that. What is that? 4 outfielders. Well, I don't even know because what position does Willie Castro play? Whatever. So we're back to that on the roster. Daz Cameron has not been hitting insanely well down there in the minors. I would say that he has shown flashes. He's gone on some streaks. He's gone on some hot streaks where and this has been really, to be honest with you, a majority of his professional career has been like hot and cold streaks. He'll go on tears where he's an electric player when he is on because he's so athletic and so fast. And when he is hitting well, he's got such a beautiful swing. He can be a plus defender. Like when everything is clicking and he's on a heater, he is fun to watch and he is a must have in the lineup. But then he goes on cold stretches where it gets brutal. So he's really just continued that. The overall numbers aren't fantastic in the minors this year, but he certainly has had some hot flashes like we're used to. So we'll see what we're getting with Daz. We really need him to take another step forward. We really need a lot of these guys, most of the roster actually, to just take a step forward and really be consistently good because who has been? Who has been? No one. And that's why we have, I believe we're closing in on the third worst record in baseball. So there you go. Okay. That'll do it for me. Thanks for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. Now make your second listen to Locked On MLB podcast. MLB expert Paul Francis Sullivan brings humor, passion, and his unique perspective on every team and the biggest stories from around the league. Follow the number one daily league-wide podcast, Locked On MLB, on the Odyssey app, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcast, just like this one. I think that's all I got. Tough season. Tough season, but we're in it for the long haul. At least I am. I don't blame anyone for not joining me on that. Truly, I don't. But I'm still here against my better judgment because I'm an idiot. Peace and love. Going to therapy's dope. We will catch y'all tomorrow for our last episode of the week. Hopefully recapping a win. That would be nice. All right. See you tomorrow. Go Tigers, baby.